everybody. Welcome to a new episode of JKL Media Podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about a interesting movie produced and directed, produced at least, and funded by A27. Is that the
A24.
sorry, A24, who I think has been knocking it out of the park over the last few years. So we're going to be talking about Death of a Unicorn. Probably not their best movie ever, but it's an HBO film and it has Paul Rudd in it. I got a thing for Paul Rudd, and so it wasn't a hardship. But I'm going to go around the table here. I have Lou. Hi, Lou.
Hello, everyone.
And Jesse. Hi, Jesse.
Hello, Karen.
Hello. I'm going to get your first impressions because I really, after watching this movie, I'm like, wow, I really want to know what these two guys think about it. Lou, let's go with you first.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I do.
My first thoughts are beautiful Canadian scenery. I liked it quite well. It just goes to show you that you can have a powerhouse cast with Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, Will Poulter, Tia Leone, Richard E. Grant. And yet, if the behind the scenes crew are not up to snuff, no matter how good the actors are, they can't really save a movie. And I think that's what happens with this movie. There's a lot of problems with it, but for me, the greatest sin is, and one of my pet peeves is, it has dark scenes that you can't see what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I agree. Those were frustrating for me as well. My TV is actually going bad. All the little receptors are showing up on the screen. It's not enough to buy a new one yet. And it was really difficult to see those dark scenes. It's difficult to see like really bright scenes and really dark scenes. So I was very frustrated. How about you, Jesse?
So I want to stress that I have been wanting to watch this film. I am a huge Wednesday fan. I think that is a brilliant series, and Jenna playing that.
Yeah, Jenna Ortega,
Yeah, is just brilliant in this. And I also adore Paul Rudd. So I'm like, oh, it's fantasy, science fiction-y. I need to watch that. And then just kept putting it off. So I am really glad you picked this because I can scratch it off. But my question is, who is this movie for?
Right. Yeah, that was a question I had as well.
When we get into this, and I echo Lou's thoughts that this is an amazing cast. Madam Secretary, a great, not quite up there with West Wing, but a great political drama, right? It just the guy who plays her son, I can't think of his name.
Will Poulter.
He has been wonderful in playing that kind of dope character, right? And he was, and so I'm like, oh wow, this cast is top notch. And at the end I went, wow, it's too violent to be a kid's film, but it isn't truly horror enough to be like a horror film. What were they trying to do, and where did it go wrong?
Yeah, the genre is confusing, I have to admit. I thought before I watched it, and I'm in the same boat as you, Jesse. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to watch that at some point.
Yeah.
And this week has been difficult. I'm not gonna go into it, but when we were talking about what to do, I was like, let's just watch this movie. Oh, it was just like, okay, I want to watch this movie, so let's do it. And I gotta say, I'm glad I watched it because at least it wasn't one of these, hey, I should watch that movie anymore.
Yeah.
And like I said, I love, what am I saying? A24 movies. They did Everything Everywhere All at Once. They did Moonlight, Midsummer. They've done a lot of incredible movies. And I thought, hey, Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, Will Poulter, Tia Leone, and even Anthony Kerrigan, who was Griff. He was in Gotham. He was in Barry. He plays great characters. I thought, how can it be bad?
Yeah.
And then I watched it. I think it had great intentions. I really do. I think when it was pitched to A24, they went, yeah, how can we turn this down? We got to make this movie. Paul Rudd was already attached to it. They got Jenna Ortega right away, Taya Leone also, and such great people in it. I cannot stress that enough. And I can't help but think, I get where they were going. I really do. But where
Yeah,
does it fit in the panoply of what the audience is for it? And how does it fit in the A24 catalog?
yeah.
You've already touched on it a little bit. What genre would you put this in, Jesse? If you had to categorize this, what would you put? And you can do fantasy science fiction or whatever. You can do a dual. What would you put it in?
I guess they it's definitely fantasy, but and I guess they wanted to do dark humor, right?
Sure.
But it and I am not a fan of gore. We've talked about I'm not a fan of horror. Slasher films I don't enjoy. But, if you're going to go for that, go for it. And
Mhm.
yeah, I guess they're trying to do a dark fantasy humor. And it, and I want to have Lou share something, but I'm going, okay, let's throw unicorns in there. You know what? Let's have a father and a daughter that are not, they're estranged, and we're going to put them back together. Let's have a greedy businessman, an incompetent son, a moral quandary, and oh, and let's throw some bloods. I think the kids like the blood and
Hmm.
go.
Fortnite kids, they like killing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I think.
Okay. I think that's accurate. How about you, Lou?
Yeah, I think Jesse nailed it. I think that they were aiming for a dark fantasy comedy horror, maybe American Werewolf in London, but and maybe with a bit of satire with the family dynamics and whatnot. But the tone, there wasn't a clear vision here as to what they were doing, and I don't still really know what the movie was trying to tell us. It just threw in like a blender of elements from fantasy tropes and horror tropes, but what was the purpose of this movie? And the ending didn't make any sense to me either. And I just read now here on Wikipedia that apparently there's that end credit scene where they show the posters more, and that there's a scene where the horses push a carriage off the road and the two people in the carriage swim away. But even knowing that, I still don't know what the story was trying to prove. Like what was the message of this story? It was like a father redemption arc to a certain extent, and the fact that when we pass on, we will still be able to be with our loved ones. But that's been done so much better in movies like Ghost and things like that. This one just, man, I just like the people behind, like this director Alex Scarfman. This is his first movie and his first writing credit, and I just kept on thinking to myself, this one really needed like three more drafts before it
Yeah.
was filmed. And yeah, so there's other things I could say about it, but it just tonally was all over the place and just wasn't a cohesive piece of work.
Yeah. I think those are two of the themes. I think there were just too many things that they were trying to do.
And
I
it,
think that
and they didn't have clear control of any of them.
I feel like they didn't really land any of them. Pharmaceutical companies are bad. Father and daughter, they have to get back together. The father wants to be a toady to the bad guys because he has good intentions, but it's not working out. Unicorns are real, and is it based on that tapestry? Is it? I was just sitting there and it wasn't hard to get through, at least for me. I
Oh, I
watch
totally
it.
agree. It
Yeah.
wasn't at all.
Was it supposed to be horror? Was it supposed to be a kids movie? Was it? So I was left unsettled, and not because of the horror, just because of what did I just watch?
Yep.
And I think it's weird when one of us picks something that none of us has seen. And I think this is, in a long time, this is the first time that's happened. I think we've done it before, but it's been quite some time. And
Next week will
so
be the same thing.
Yeah,
Or
that's
next
true.
next time we do it,
The next time we
because none of
record,
us have
yeah.
seen The Life of Chuck yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But, that's Stephen King. This
Hmm.
guy was unproven. I was banking on it being a movie from the studio A24 and having such a great cast in it.
Yeah.
And I think our conversation is going to be we really wanted to like this movie because of all the elements
Yeah.
that were
Yes.
in it at the beginning. Fantasy. We knew there was going to be dark humor based on the fact that they were going to kill the unicorn. We knew there was going to be dark humor in it.
Yeah.
And all the people, God, I love Paul Rudd so much. And I love Jen Ortega. I love Taya Leone. And ever since I saw him in Gotham, Anthony Kerrigan, really, I love him. And Will Poulter as well from We Are the Millers. That's where I first saw him.
Yeah.
And he was in a Black Mirror movie and a lot of other stuff. I had a lot of faith that, we would at least like this movie. And I do have to say, I'm very forgiving when it comes to things like this, that I do think that they had great intentions. I think everybody who came to this movie had a really good outlook on what this was going to be. And then I don't know where it happened. Was it on the cutting room floor? Was it the writing fell down? I don't know. I'm not behind the scenes, but there was definitely something missing. Maybe a third or fourth pair of eyes on the script. But I really do. Oh, and Richard E. Grant. Hello. And he was playing such an interesting character as well. I'm stymied. That's all I can say, really. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and by the way, Dope Sick is is a movie based on that Michael Keaton stars, all about addiction and the whole,
And the pharmaceutical
yeah, the
industry and
pharmaceutical
right, right.
industry. And why can I not remember his name? The son plays a salesperson that is just a he is one of the good, quote unquote, good people in the film. So yeah, he has a lot of chops. And the
Oh,
it
Will
is,
Poulter's in it.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Will, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, both of you, that it you've somehow lost your way, right? Every once in a while in life, in business, in art, what are we trying to do? Okay, I know these are all great ideas, but let's go back to basics. What's the story we want to tell? And I probably would not enjoyed it, but you could have made a great horror film that said unicorns aren't your friends. They
Right.
aren't what little girls cheer about. And she talked about that. Jenna talked about, right? This is, if you realize where they went from, they are horrible. And there's some nice, as they're chasing, they've become dark because of their anger.
Yep.
But you go, what? It's a very unclear arc of the Paul Rudd's character, because you originally, okay, he does what he does at the beginning out of kindness, but then every role he keeps stepping because he's trying to take care of his family. Some awkwardness.
And do you think the unicorns would have really warmed to him at the end if it weren't for Jenna Ortega?
Yeah, like the idea that, and I guess she's earned that redemption because he
Sure.
certainly didn't.
And she had that connection as well. Unicorn and the Maiden, that's a big trope
Yeah,
and I think that was the role they were putting her in. And
yeah.
when she had that connection, that was beautiful, by the way. The
Hmm.
graphics when it came to
Yes.
that. Also, I want to give a shout out to the special effects. For the most part, they were really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh, the unicorns were realistic, I thought, at
Yeah,
Yeah,
least.
I
especially
I don't
agree.
know.
yeah, especially when looking at the budget. This movie was only $15 million.
I know. And again, it was beautiful scenery. I don't know
Hmm.
where in Canada that was filmed, but it was gorgeous. And I think they only made a slight nod to it being in Canada with them being, what were they on, Canada Air? And I think that was really the main drop in. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to see some beauty here. Really, honestly, whenever I see that something was filmed in Canada, I think that it's going to have great landscapes. And this definitely did. Even the road they were on, just it was really nice. And that house was incredible. I there were things to love about it. There really were. So I don't want to say this is just a gross movie and I hate everything about it. There were good things in it. I think the acting was good as well. It really hurts me that the writing wasn't great
It's
or
not
Yeah.
just
the
the writing,
editing or what.
directing as well.
Yeah, yeah. So what were you going to say, Jesse?
Yeah. The idea that we're like, I thought the movie was going to be that this family understood that this is a place where they know this is a unicorn and mythical creature refugees, like
Hmm.
something where they kept. Because when they asked, did you see any wildlife on the road?
Yeah.
I thought maybe we were going to go, and that was going to be where you've destroyed this thing. But no, everyone's, oh, how did we not know that unicorns were real? And
Yeah,
then,
that's one thing. Why was the
yeah,
unicorn out by the road if they're hiding? And yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so it's very interesting. And yeah, it is not, it's funny because normally when we pick a topic, one of us has seen it and one of
Right.
us either finds it interesting, really enjoys it, or wants to share. And we usually do not crap on.
Yeah, we don't.
You know, because we don't waste our time watching things we don't enjoy. And it is amazing, and I go back to Kevin Pollak in an interview once said, people ask him, wow, couldn't you tell this was a stinker from the beginning? And he said, no one tries to make a bad movie.
Yep.
No one tries to make a bad movie, but
Right. Except the
sometimes,
guys and the producers.
yeah, yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
I honestly I can see they had great intentions. I don't know
yeah,
about you guys, but I can see that. And I think the people attached to this, they really did do their best.
Yep.
Like I said, I think Taya Leone's performance was really great. She had the villainous mother thing down pat.
yeah.
Will Poulter, I thought, was fantastic as well. Snorting the powder was
Yes.
something to behold, I thought. And there's no bad performance. I cannot stress enough that there are so many good things about this really bad movie. I'm searching for a coherent topic now. Go ahead.
I would like to take it from the viewpoint that if you are a creative person, be it a filmmaker or a writer or whatever, this is a textbook movie for you to watch because, as we said, this movie obviously was made with the best of intents. But if you don't have a handle on the craft of making movies and writing movies, then it doesn't matter how good the cast you get. For a first time director, if somebody told me, we're going to give you Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, Will Poulter, Tiana Loney, and Richard E. Grant, and you're going to make a movie with them, you'd be like, pinch me and wake me up. If you're
And let
not
me get as much as I can in resources to make a good product for them, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
and yet the product that you deliver is subpar, is I'm surprised that somebody didn't step in and say, look at dude, I'm sorry, but just Paul Rudd and then them, the Richard E. Grant, they've been around for a while. They've got to know that this guy was in over his head.
Yeah.
I'm really curious. I'd love to know the behind the scenes story of how when this movie was being filmed, because you've got to have a clear vision of what you're making. And like we've mentioned, this movie was just pulling in elements like helter skelter. Like when somebody was looking at the script, they would have said, okay, look, we're talking about unicorns here. And unicorns are usually pictured, or like when I picture a unicorn, I see something that's beautiful and graceful, like something out of Lord of the Rings, like Shadowfax or something like that. But these horses, like their teeth are like from a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And you've got to build up the underpinnings of your movie, because then everything else that flows from it, you won't buy. And I don't think they established the mythology of the unicorns well enough for me to, because that was my big problem with the story. It says, okay, you're showing me piecemeal these things, but at some point in the movie, you're going to have a moment where the characters all come to a meeting of the minds about what the mythology of this thing is. But they just kept on setting up like this conflict that nobody would listen to Jenna Ortega's character. And that was frustrating for me, because I'm hoping, got the answers here, but she's not articulating what the problem is really. She's just saying that we have to let it go, but that's not okay. Why? But why? Like, it's just these basic questions that weren't being answered. And then I think the first moment, like, I'm curious for you guys, the first moment I was really struck by that, I thought, this movie's got problems, was when Jenna Ortega was holding the unicorn's horn and doing that mind trip. And then Paul Rudd just comes rushing in and starts hammering the thing with a tire iron. I go, whoa, like, what?
Yeah.
Did he not even try to pull her off or anything? Or there was no, so I think little moments like that, like the staging of those kind of scenes, that would have been a different shot where we saw him in the background picking up the tire iron running towards it, but he just comes into the frame, like, just really abruptly. And so it's just little things like that. If you're a creative person, like, you have to watch other movies, like, you have to know how to set up scenes. And
Yeah,
I don't know what this guy's background was, a director, but he didn't have, to me, he just didn't know the material or have the background to do this movie. If you watch somebody like a Mike Flanagan, or you pick a really big director like a Villeneuve, or what's the guy's name that does the Batman movies, and
Jonathan Nolan.
Christopher Nolan. Yeah, Christopher Nolan. Like,
Sorry.
yeah, like those guys, they're setting up shots with a purpose, and the visual, like some of the shots, like the shot of the house or the mansion in the woods on the mountains, that was a good shot.
Gorgeous.
But
yeah.
But all the action scenes, all the dramatic moments were just, yeah, they just weren't set up properly. And I'm just looking at this movie and I'm thinking, man, can you imagine if this was made like with a no-name cast? It would have been even worse. I agree with Karen. I think that all the actors totally sold or did their best with the material that they had. For me, Jenna Ortega was probably the best character, because she had the clearest path through the story. But I think Paul Rudd, like, his character was really all over the place and really frigging annoying. And then, like, that climatic scene on that clearing with the stone patio or whatever it was, like when he rushes in and stabs Will Poulter's character, I'm going, really? Now this guy's a murderer? Like, where did this come from? Like, it was just the setup so that he got injured, so that then the unicorns could heal him. So it's like they weren't even paying proper attention to character motivations or building up. And I would turn to when we did the 12 Monkeys, like, we had characters flipping 180 degrees in their motivations in that, but the show laid the groundwork for that to seem plausible. They sold it before it actually happened. This one, and there's just so many technical issues. Like, we're having this big scenes all happening at night, and then Paul Rudd runs out of the house, and all of a sudden it's like daylight. And I'm going, what the hell? Like, it just wasn't. It just technically wasn't well done, except for the production values and the special effects. So there's this really, to me, it just really shows that this writer was not up to the task of making this movie, which is too bad, because I think there is an interesting movie that could come out of this, but it just wasn't there for this particular person. And yeah, it's frustrating but I think it's a really excellent textbook case for people, because I think you learn more from movies that don't work than you do from movies that do work.
Sure. I do have to say, I'm not a writer. I'm not a director. I'm not a producer. None of that. I cannot stress enough how poorly I would do in any of those roles.
Yes, absolutely.
But I can see clearly things that they could have done that would make this movie better. A scene where the tapestry was gone into in detail.
Yep.
That would have really set up a lot of stuff. Just showing at that scene where you were mentioning where Paul Rudd's character stabs Will Poulter's character, maybe have the son go after his daughter and him looking and seeing my daughter's in danger, and that's what spurs him on to
Mm.
do something, right? There's so many little things that I can pull out and say, hey, what's what's Elliot's redemption arc? How can he redeem himself enough for the unicorns to want to save him? You know, that I said that before. I'm sorry if I'm repeating, but it can't just be because Ridley is sad that he's dead. It doesn't make sense to me. And if they had gone into the tapestries, we would have seen the car going off the cliff, the maybe more about keeping the unicorns and having healing properties. We would have seen these things and they would have made sense when they happened. I don't like that they go off the cliff and then afterwards they're like, "Oh, here's why." No, do it now. Set it all up so that we can.
Yeah.
And I'll say one of the things about I think maybe he was going for a thing, what was it, Midsummer, where they showed a tapestry at the beginning and it goes
Hmm.
through the whole storyline. And you can see from that, even if you see it afterwards, they laid out the story in that tapestry. It's
Hmm.
exactly what happened there. There's a lot of movies that I can't think of them off the top of my head, but they set things up. What was it, The End of the World or whatever, one of the Cornetto trilogies, where Simon Pegg does this monologue about the bar hop that they're going to do. And when he says it, it's what happens in the movie as well. And so you can look back and go, oh, that was cool. They set up the whole thing. And
Yeah.
in this case, eh, no one earned anything except for maybe Ridley earned her the end where the unicorns saved them and all that because she was the one that. But again, how was it clear to the unicorns that she was trying to give the baby back? Was it just that they knew she had some connection with them? Again, I'm so confused by all of this. And if the writing is bad, that really taints the entire movie.
Yeah.
And like I said, the scenery was amazing, the special effects amazing, the cast amazing. They did a great job. But when the writing's bad, it's hard to enjoy something.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
And you mentioned something, and one of the things I think that would have worked is based on this research, they're not going to stop coming until we give them back their child.
Right.
Yeah,
How did we know that?
yeah.
Where was
Ba
that set up?
yeah, and you show her reading the tapestries, all the things, she could say, "Hey, based on what I've read, this is not going to stop until we give them." And then they go,
Right.
"No, I don't agree. I'm
Hey,
with
that's just
you."
artwork, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And we would have known, we would have been in on it.
Yeah.
We would have seen, oh, the tapestry actually means something. If unicorns are around, then it's not a stretch to realize that the tapestries might actually be real. But we didn't, we got little bits and pieces. And the scenes where the tapestry was shown were just fleeting.
Yeah.
Here's the tapestry in a pen and nothing else.
Yeah.
You would have had to pause it to actually look at the tapestry. And that tapestry is real, by the way. It's a real piece of art.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah. So I really, you shouldn't have to research a movie after you've watched it to understand it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad I watched it. Like I said, because now it's scratched off my bingo card. I never would have thought all of these things coming together would have made a movie that I enjoy so little.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes gives it 53%. I think I might have gone to 60 just for the production value and the cast alone. But I get it. It was not critically acclaimed, but it has a much higher score amongst viewers. And I do have
Yeah.
to say, I understand that because they're not critically watching it. They're there for the ride and they see all the fun stuff in it, and
Yeah.
they're not really doing a deep dive into it. And like I said, there are things to like about it, and I understand that. Now, The one thing that hit me
Yes.
was I take an MS medicine that costs $6,000 a month. I don't pay that.
Yeah.
So I understood the hatred for this family. And so I
Yeah.
was rooting for them to die, which I don't like that about myself. But
Yeah.
at least in that case, I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah.
Let's see that side of the story a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they had made this out as more of an adult film
Hmm.
and leaned into the horror more, I
Yeah.
think that would have made a bit of difference as well. Pinning down what this movie is at the heart of it, I think they would have been able to say, okay, this doesn't fit in the narrative, this doesn't fit in the narrative, and toss that out and then expand some other scenes. Like I said, and you guys, I'm sure agree with me, a couple other people with help writing it, more experienced people, because this is his, like you said, his first time writing and directing a film. I don't know how many people got in on the action with him, but I think maybe he thought a little too much of his own writing because he definitely didn't have enough people in on it. I think this really, the idea of it is a good movie.
Yeah.
I think there's merit in making this movie. I would love to see it like not a director's cut, a producer's cut. If
Yeah.
A24 had seen it and gone back and said, hey, let's tweak this a little bit and
Yeah.
see what we can come up with. I think that would have been fantastic, but they have so many other things on their plate. I can't imagine them doing that. It premiered at South by Southwest. They had high hopes for it, and I don't know if they were banking on the star power alone.
Yeah.
They're not banking on as great as it was. They're not saying, oh, the scenery and the special effects are going to hook them. No, it was they went on going Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, Will Poulter, Tia Leone, Richard Grant, come see it. And the audience for it, it's our people, right?
Hmm.
Those actors are actors that we see all the time. They're not too young and they're not too old. They're right in our wheelhouse. Most of them are about my age. Richard
Yeah.
Grant is the only one who's older than me, and Will Poulter is younger than me. But Paul Rudd was born less than a year before after me.
Yeah.
And Tia Leone was born just a couple years before me. She's actually younger than my husband. And so I'm like, yeah, how can I not like this film? I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
And it had all these things going for it. And I have to say, I'm so disappointed that something I was so looking forward to and so looking forward to discussing with you guys. I'm like, oh, I'm so sad I had them watch this movie.
Well, no,
So,
it
No,
was, yeah, I was happy to do it. And it's one of those things.
don't take if you don't take a
Yeah.
shot, you
uh,
never know.
sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
we can't like everything, right?
No, exactly.
I feel like we pick things that we know we're gonna, and this
Hmm.
is one that I thought, let's all go into it blind and see. And it
And
backfired on me.
that was
But
fun. Yeah, that
was it
part of it was
okay?
fun. Yeah.
I like gambling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to thank you guys at the very least for humoring me by watching this movie. I'm glad we all have kind of the same viewpoint on it because I would have
Hmm.
been disappointed if I shat all over it and one of you liked it.
That's
I
the worry
had
I have when you pick something. I go, oh, if I don't like this, is she going to be upset?
no, and you need to know, I know we've said it a lot, but none of us are going to hate the other person for not liking something we
Yeah,
like.
but I just don't want
Yeah,
to hurt your
exactly.
feelings.
No,
Yeah,
no, it
exactly.
won't hurt my feelings at all. I know that there are things for people and things that people don't like. I think one of the most interesting discussions we had was that Justice League comic
Yeah.
that we read, and we were all over the place on that. I love talking to people with different viewpoints. I also
Hmm.
love these where we can just shit on something and say, hey, we all didn't love it, but there are merits. And we all have the same viewpoint, and it's cool to just vent. over it. I hope our listeners like it at the very least. I'm sorry, guys, if you liked it and we didn't. Again, I want to say I'm not going to yuck your yum.
Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it if you liked it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't look down on you at all for liking it. There are great things about it.
Yeah, I have a question. One of the things, and I wish I could remember his name. It was Thompson. Maggie Thompson is his wife. They did the Comic Buyer's Guide. And he
Hmm.
said, for those of you who like this type of thing, you will like this thing. And so I would like to say that for those of you who like this thing, you will like this thing. But as we've established, we don't know what this thing is. And if you're a horror fan, don't think it's really there for you because there's horror elements, but it's not a true horror film. For
Right.
those of you who love a father-son bonding, father-daughter bonding, just there it's there, but not really. And for those of you who like for a redemption journey, not really.
Right.
This is where do I am not telling someone, yeah, don't waste your time watching this, but
Sure.
I'm almost
If you think
saying,
it's up your alley, go for it.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I can name another dozen films that I think are
Yeah.
better use of your time.
Yeah. The Dark Cauldron. What is it? The Dark Cauldron?
Mhm.
The Black Cauldron? Whatever that
Mhm.
is. That's a great dark fantasy movie. There's
Yeah.
so many of them. Dawn Thompson, by the way.
Okay. Yes.
Dawn and Maggie Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should do a list of dark fantasy movies that we
Mm.
like our top five dark fantasy movies, but this wouldn't be anywhere in my top 100. I
Yeah.
don't think. I don't ever have to watch it again. I love Paul Rudd. Like I said, I look at the list of the things he's done and I'm like, yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that. There's nothing of his I don't
Sure.
like. And and Jenna Ortega the same, even though she's much
Mm.
less experienced in the industry, she has really,
So she's a star.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she is.
picked the
Yeah.
right projects. She has great people advising her, and I think she has wonderful instincts when it comes to what to do. Will Poulter as well.
Yeah.
Um, he hasn't really hit a bad note in his repertoire. It's sad to me, and I feel like everything is wasted in this movie.
Yeah.
Although it was good to see all of that, to say, hey, we can make unicorns look real. That landscape is amazing.
Yeah, point of correction, that the movie was filmed in Hungary.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So they made
Yeah,
it look like Canada,
yeah,
but it was filmed in Hungary. Wow. Okay,
yeah,
still beautiful.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's because of the house. I'm not sure. Because you can find landscape like that in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I got to visit Canada more often. I've been a couple times, but
Mm.
so anyway, yeah, thank you guys for sticking with us if you've made it this far.
Yeah.
Um, I would say, do you have any last thoughts? Do you have any last thoughts that we haven't really talked about, or have we beaten a dead unicorn?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I would just say that this movie's a lot of setup with not very little payoff, but also and I'll just reiterate that you can learn more from a movie like this as to what makes a good movie work as you can than if you just watch a good movie on its own. So if you are a creative person, this is one of those movies that seems to have all the right elements, but it just doesn't come together. And I think the reasons why it doesn't come together is definitely worthy of just some thought and discussion on your part if this is the kind of thing that you're into.
Yeah, it can
Yeah.
definitely spark creativity.
Yeah.
I do think so. How about
Yep.
you, Jesse? Anything?
No, I shared with that thought about, is this your kind of thing? And you're right. Jenna Ortega is just someone I am very curious to see what she's going to do in the future. And my suggestion is, if you haven't watched Wednesday, and you're going, it's not really my cup of tea, I
Good.
really recommend you don't have to be a fan of any of the Addams Family's earlier movies or TV show or anything. It's just really well done.
I would say
So,
it's loosely based on the Addams Family, right? It's
yeah,
a different story, similar characters, and it's fun.
yes, it's
It's
very
really
fun.
fun to watch. It's
Yeah,
not brain surgery, but it's rocket surgery, as they
yeah,
say on The Office.
yeah.
Yeah, so I guess my closing thoughts would be watch it if you think you'd like it. If you like any of those elements, go for it. Just don't go into it thinking it's going to be the most cerebral thing on the planet, that it's going to be the best fantasy movie you've ever seen. Go into it with popcorn, with cards to play solitaire. Go into it knowing you're not going to have to put 100% in watching it. At least that's my advice.
Good advice.
Thank you. We're going to wrap it up here. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, Lou.
No problem. And if you want to see a series with beautiful Canadian scenery, I highly recommend the Amaze series on Netflix with the Australian actor Sam Neill's in it, and what's the other guy, Eric Bana.
Oh,
Really good Mr. Series and beautiful Canadian scenery.
awesome. I'll have to watch that. So where can they find you?
They can find me at this YouTube channel, JKL Media Reviews, or they can also find me at my own YouTube channel, Lou's Reviews, where I interview writers, as well as my Stephen King podcast and our archived Babylon 5 podcast, the whole series plus the animated movie. And on Twitter and X or Blue Sky, you can find me at Lou W. Sitzma.
Okay. And Jesse, thank you for being here. Where can they find you?
You can find me at Jesse Jackson DFW on Twitter, X, Blue Sky, all the different places. You can hear me talking Bruce Springsteen on Set Lusting Bruce. And as of tomorrow on this recording is September 1st, which is the 10th anniversary of Set Lusting Bruce. And I've got some really fun things in store for that. So please check that out. And thank you, as always, for listening to us. Go to iTunes, rate and review us. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, leave a comment, and we love you.
Yeah, you can find me at Aleveria, Aleveria, on social media sites. My blog is alistuff.com, where there's some interesting things if you wish to go there. And you can email us at jklmediareviews@gmail.com. So with that, I'm going to wrap up this weird episode and say thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.
And scene.
The proceeding has been a JKL Media production.